And now the news in details. Despite several pleas and warnings by both the federal and state governments, security agencies, stakeholders and concerned organizations, both in Nigeria and outside the country, citizens of Nigeria still proceeded in protesting against #End Bad Governance and hunger protests across different states in Nigeria. Citizens in Rivers State also joined their counterparts in other states to stage the peaceful protest. ATN correspondent reports.
Port Harcourt was at standstill today as residents of Rivers State trooped out en masse to protest against bad governance, hunger, petrol hike, amongst other challenges in the state and country at large. The protest, which began today, the 1st of August 2024, will run through to the 10th of August 2024. The protest, which kicked off at Pleasure Park in Aba Road, went through to the Rivers State Government House in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. The protesters carried placards with inscription "End Bad Governance," "Stop the Hunger," "We Are Hungry," "Reduce Petrol Price," amongst others. Speaking during the exercise, some persons who seems like the coordinator of the protest accused President Bola Tinubu of initiating anti-people policies, inflicting hunger and hardship on Nigerians.
Demanding for reforms in government, demanding for a renegotiation of the structure which we call Nigeria, that has so far enabled corruption, inept corruption in our system, that has so far impoverished our people, impoverished the common man to stupor, to a point where the common man cannot breathe. The poor are suffocating, the poor are dying, the poor cannot afford minimum health care requirements to take care of their families, the poor cannot afford food, the poor cannot afford education, the poor cannot afford anything anymore. We are here to tell the president, to tell our National Assembly to sit up, to listen to Nigerians.
We said today we are going to come out to demand that there should be an end to bad governance. Bad governance must end, and that is what we are working on. So we came here not to pass our message to the governor. So he should pass our message down to the president, telling him that we are tired of the suffering in Nigeria. Petrol pump price should be reduced.
We are suffering from food crisis as a result of bad policy. We never attain self-sufficiency, and you are closing borders and making. How much is minimum wage? How much is a bag of rice? The people have been patient over time until we've stretched our patience. People cannot buy food, people cannot buy fuel, you can't create jobs, people can't go to farm because of insecurity.
However, some of the protesters also expressed their grievances.
We cannot fold our hands and die at home out of hunger. We have endured, we have been discouraged, we have been threatened. But we said no, all die and I die. We are here. If the police that we are fighting for wants to shoot us, let us shoot us. We cannot die at home because of hunger. Let's change governance. We need a change in government. Bring down the cost of fuel, rice, beans, everything.
We are tired of this. So we are angry. That is why we are protesting. Let government do something. God has blessed us in this country. We are blessed. Angry day.
We are here for good governance. We are here for employment. We are here for things to come down to the normal price that is affordable for everybody.
The way the country is now, nothing is working in the country. Nobody is surviving. There's no means of survival anymore.
Addressing the protesters, the Rivers State Governor, Sir Similalayi Fubara, acknowledged that there is hunger in the states and country, but promised to engage Rivers youth meaningfully.
Thanking you because you are peaceful. That is the first thing. I'm thanking you because we want a better Nigeria. But like I said yesterday, I am one of you. I feel your pain. And in our own government here, we are doing everything to make life easy for our people. We will communicate your problems to the federal government.
ATM News, Port Harcourt.
Analysts has advised leaders to be proactive on issues of great security interest. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Blowout, a socio-political analyst, Mr. Ekie, said Governor Siminalayi Fubara should review thugs contracted to hijack protests.
Tell us the names of the people who have contracted these thugs that wants to sabotage the peaceful protests. What have you done? Have you written to the Commissioner of Police or the IGP? Have you prepared a prosecution, process? Because your duty as a governor is to protect lives and properties of citizens. So if any person is fingered to be a sponsor of criminals, thugs, or whatever you may call them, to hijack the peaceful protests, then you should be able to tell us that men and brethren of Rivers State, President of Nigeria, Mr. this and that, Mrs. this and that, have planned, have contracted some hoodlums, some thugs to destabilize the state in the guise of what? Protests. So I'd like to see His Excellency make bold and mention some of these things so that the reactive nature of our leaders most times is what is not very encouraging. I want to see our governors being proactive on issues, especially when it has to do with great security interests. So, His Excellency, the information you have given to us by the fact that you are aware by intelligence, a credible intelligence.
On his part, Mufasa Eyimosa also advised security operatives to work on intelligence to unravel and identify criminal elements and their sponsors.
Was there, the head of JSS was there, and some other relevant security heads were also present at the stakeholders meeting, and they know what to do. The governor can only provide information, to the extent of a need-to-know basis. Then it's not left for security operatives to work on such intelligence and unravel, identify those criminal elements and their sponsors. So for me, I do not think it will be appropriate to say that the governor should begin to name the names of those who he has perceived to have gone out their way to get talks to disrupt the protest.
You don't think that's necessary information?
Now he has provided what is necessary. That is even in other states. The state governors have equally made similar statements. Even the presidency has also made statements like this, that in fact they will make references to elements outside the country. They didn't mention names. They only say they are aware. They are aware that elements outside the country are trying to topple the government. They didn't come out with any names. So it is not left for those security apparatus, for the agents who are responsible to carry out intelligence investigation and unmask this individual. And unless that is done, I think what is in public domain now is to the best of our knowledge. And then again, I also do not want to agree with, though he said the people gathering now could be the.
This is coming after the Rivers State Governor, Sir Siminalayi Fubara, raised the alarm over a plot to use mercenaries and thugs to destroy valuable infrastructural assets in the state in the guise of protest. In Bayelsa State, the Governor Doye Diri has charged chairmen of the 8 local government areas of the state to set up task force to tackle crude oil theft in various councils. Diri disclosed this during a meeting with local government chairman. Local government chairman at the government house in Yenagua said the decision is to set up the local government task force on oil theft was born out of a meeting between governors of the oil-producing state and the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu in Abuja. Governor Diri said the incidents of crude oil bunkering and theft had seriously impacted revenues accruing to oil-producing states, as well as environmental degradation, adding that his local government task forces are expected to collaborate with Bayelsa State Community Safety Corps to check crude oil theft. He also directed the council chairman to provide accommodation for officials of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency to enable them carry out this in their areas, and directed that all public officers, markets and businesses across the state should open for business on Thursday. He gave the directive during a courtesy call by the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Heineken Lapubiri, at the Government House, Yenegua, and while acknowledging the rights of the people to protest in a democracy, he stressed it must be for good reasons, which could be resolved through dialogue. Network of Benin Ethnic Nationalities Organization has called for the cancellation of the protest that it could lead to the breakdown of law and order if hijacked by hoodlums. A statement south by the group urged the protesters to listen to the Vice Council of the Oba of Benin, Ewari II, who last week called for the suspension of the protesters and urged the citizens to give the government more time to fix the country. The president of the coalition, Ojo Ogowen, appealed to all heads of communities, youth leaders, religious leaders, and parents to persuade their wards not to be part of the protest, which they feared may be hijacked, as was the experience in previous experiences. Also speaking, a stakeholder in the organization, Osaro Iyamo, said they were not against the protest, but that they must respect the advice of the Oba of Benin, and that experiences have shown that the protest could be hijacked, stressing that the recommendations of the #NSAS panel of inquiry have not been implemented in the state. On his part, the director of students engagement of the National Association of Nigerian Students, Comrade Stephen Imafidon, said abstinence from the protest does not make them less human, but rather more human, because the tranquility and peace of the state is a collective effort. Ahead of the September 21st governorship election in Edo State, the National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress has set up a 179-man council to lead its campaign. In the list released by the APC National Organizing Secretary Suleiman Agugu, Cross River State Governor Basi Otu was appointed as the chairman of the campaign council. Otu will be assisted by Katsina State Governor Diko Raya and former Edo Governor Adams Oshomole, who were announced as co-chairman and deputy chairman, respectively. Other members of the 197-man team include Senator Ovie Omo Agege, Assistant Secretary, while the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, as well as Minister of Aviation Festus Keyamo, Ogun Governor Dapo Abiodun, his counterparts in Lagos, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and other governors elected on the platform of the APC. Also on the list is a reinstated Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shaibu, who recently defected from the ruling party's People Democratic Party to the APC, while the APC governorship candidate Senator Monday Okpebolo will be facing the candidate of the ruling party, Aswe Igodalo and Olumide Apata of the Labour Party, in the September 21st forward. Ex-militants under the aegis of the Akwa Ibom Ex-Agitators Forum have warned the youth in Akwa Ibom State against embarking on what they call a faceless protest in the state. They vow to mobilize anti-protesters in strategic places to protect public infrastructure and property from being vandalized and looted during the protest. Chairman of the forum, Alban Paulinus, who disclosed this while addressing journalists in Uyo, the state capital, described the protest as counterproductive and a threat to the existing peace in the state. He also said that they believe in maintaining peace and stability in the state and acknowledged the economic challenges faced by Nigerians, stressed that there was need to dialogue and collaboration with the government to find lasting solutions. Paulinus pleaded with the people to give President Bola Tinubu a chance and call for patience, while chairman of Obolo Youth, Emmanuel Esang, on his part, said the days of taking to the streets are over as demands are achieved through dialogue. Ex-militants under the aegis of the Akwa Ibom State Forum Several journalists and activists have been beaten, handcuffed and taken by security agents to unknown locations in Calabar, Cross River State. Eyewitness said the managing editor of the online newspaper Cross River Watch, Jonathan Ubal, is among the arrested journalists, and they were taken by security personnel along with other activists who engaged in a peaceful protest early Thursday morning to an undisclosed location. The journalists were following some activists around the popular Mary Celeste roundabout in Calabar, where a handful of protesters had gathered on Thursday, the first day of the 10-day planned nationwide protest. This comes when Ubal posted a video in the morning showing that the surrounding roads to the Mary Celeste roundabout were deserted. Reacting, human rights activist James Ibo said the arrest of activists and journalists was condemnable and reprehensible, adding that the security agents who arrested the journalists arrived in 4 Hilux vehicles and SUVs heavily armed.
having money and pay back. Is it not the same government? So that we should come back in a layman voice and talk to them so that we'll not be mentioning the schemes. A lot of initiatives, over 10 initiatives. How will you describe the Well, some of them are calm, some of them wants to go on the street. But like we said, little numbers of them are aggressive about it and say no. You can't get, if you know you want to remove the president, go wait till another election and come and cast your vote. Nobody is afraid of any protest. We are full on ground. And the security people have made sure that they want to secure. So nobody's against the government. Nobody's against each other. But they should also do the right thing. Do your protest and go back to the house. Like I said, I've been into over more than 100, 500 protests in this country. Okay. And which we run successfully. Okay. And what we are saying is this. And clearly, there are problems. Yes. There are hardship. Yes. And it is clear. Yes. And everything and all the things also that they have put in place will also be attractive, taken care of. But you are free to protest. But what we are also saying is this: don't let them use us to cause violence and destroy our structure. So I'm just here to do a solidarity and say we can protest, but don't let us use us as the agents of destruction to the country.
Before then, a mild drama played out when the Minister of State for Youth Development, Ayodele Olawande, arrived in the area to address the protesters, and as he tried to speak, his voice was drowned by the protesters' loud chants of hunger, disallowing the minister from speaking.
My family husband now, because of this problem where we have for Nigeria. Look at my child now, we come to protest. Just they don't do shit and tear gas anyhow, and this innocent child, where she don't know anything.
We have not done anything. He cannot see it.
Yes.
What happened to him?
Just they don't kill him. Nothing happened.
Where was he killed?
Katsina.
What happened? How was he killed?
Abandoned for bush for.
The state had secured 93 billion naira to tackle insecurity and infrastructure development in the state. Ode, who represented the governor at a town hall meeting organized by special advisors in conjunction with the State Ministry of Information, said the bonds would be used to curb insecurity and develop projects in the state. The disclosure attracted condemnation by a group, Defenders of Democracy, which accused the state government of plunging the state into serious debt. The president of the group, Amos Uchiv, accused the state governor of taking a sum of 133 billion naira within a year of being in the saddle. Responding through his chief press secretary, Kula Teso, the governor said the bonds were transparent and would not be misused by the recipients, and urged critics of the government to go around the state and see constructions ongoing, adding that every money accrued to the state will be judiciously spent. In a rare display of youthful activism, children aged 18 to 13 and youth took to the streets of Jalingo on Thursday afternoon to protest the prevailing hardship. The children chant Bamu Ai, which translates to "We don't agree, we don't agree," to draw attention to the challenges they are going through. The protest began on the popular Hamarua Way and proceeded towards the flyover bridge, a notable landmark in the city. The participants, primarily children and teenagers, were vocal about their grievances, demanding immediate action to alleviate their suffering. Eyewitness said the protesters were closely monitored by personnel from the police and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, is not happy with the disruption of a technology hub in Kano just days before its scheduled launch. The Digital Innovation Park, designed to support Nigerians' technical talent accelerator program, was reportedly set ablaze and looted during the protest on Thursday. The incident occurred as part of wider unrest in Kano, where protesters targeted the yet to be commissioned Nigerian Communication Commission's Industry Park, and highlighted the immediate impact of this destruction on planned initiatives. The minister characterized damage as a setback for the journey of deepening the workforce for technology and creating job opportunities for the youth. In Kano State, the Governor, Abba Yusuf, has declared a 24-hour curfew in the state after the protests against economic hardship in the state turned violent. A statement issued by the governor's spokesperson, Sinusi Tofa, on Thursday said the decision comes after an emergency state security council meeting dedicated to addressing the escalating violence and disruptions that have emerged amid civil demonstrations. Tofa said to safeguard lives and preserve public and private property, the decision to implement a curfew was made unanimously during the emergency meeting and called on all citizens to remain vigilant and united during this challenging time. The statement said all security agencies in the state have been directed to ensure full compliance with the curfew, and citizens are urged to heed this directive for their safety and the well-being of all. You're watching the Global News and Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this break.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring honest pop news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought a very family. Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Welcome back. This is the Global News and Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. Senators amended the 2024 Appropriation Act, which initially allocated 35.056 trillion naira for the fiscal year 2024. The Senate reversed its resolution on the Appropriation Act amendment from July 23, 2024, during an emergency session held on July 24, 2024. This action followed the discovery of legal issues by the Directorate of Legal Services. The Senate said clauses 1, 13, and 14 of the bill, as well as a long title and explanatory memorandum, required revisions to accurately reflect the Act's intent, stressing that the proponent of the motion emphasized the necessity of revising the sections in accordance with legislative procedure, and the bill was reviewed by the Committee of Supply. During the emergency session, lawmakers also considered and passed a bill to amend the Central Bank of Nigeria Act and increases the Central Bank of Nigeria's total advances to the federal government from 5% to a maximum of 10%, among other related matters. The bill, initially gazetted for first reading, was given expedited consideration and passed through all stages, including third reading. Senate ad hoc committee is set up to investigate alleged cases of corruption and inefficiency at the Ajokuta Steel Company Limited and the National Iron Ore Mining Company from 2002 to the present has raised an alarm over the bogus budget of the company. Speaking at the resumed hearing, the committee expressed shock that the troubled company could budget 4.2 billion naira in the 2024 budget for less than 10 workers. At the hearing, where key stakeholders from the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, represented by the Permanent Secretary, directors from the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Bureau of Public Enterprise, the Nigerian Society of Engineers, and the Steel and Engineering Union Workers of Nigeria, among others. Leading the probe, the senator representing Kogi Central Senatorial District on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, Natasha Abotu Udangan, questioned the rationale for the 4.2 billion naira for personnel. She requested the steel company's sole administrator, Sumailia Abdul Kaba, to provide information on how workers receive pay from 4.2 billion naira allotted for personnel costs in the 2024 budget. Added that she paid an unplanned visit to the company and found less than 10 employees, despite the steel company's enormous annual personnel costs. No steel has been made and no mill rolled, and expressed a dissatisfaction that as a native of the area, she was eager to get the steel company back up and running. Analysts have described disappointment concerning the previous state of Nigerian database and follow-up mechanism. Speaking at Atlantic Television Network program Open Conversation, a public affairs analyst, Ugochukwu Ifeanyichukwu, said the irregularities observed in the monetary aspects of the country is disheartening.
That they are trying to follow now by amending the act that pegged it at 5%. That's why it's no. So those illegalities and all those shenanigans that we see in once it comes to monetary aspects in Nigeria is really disheartening to say the least, Choma, because Nigeria is a country that our database and our follow-up mechanism is really porous. Nobody calls you to account. Whatever position you are, whatever monies that are credible to you is like a Father Christmas gift to you. And at the end of the day, nobody calls you to account. For where I want to react based on that particular expose is the actions of the opposition lawmakers. They are, as far as I'm concerned, Ifeanyi they have disappointed Nigerians. Just like I said in the other leg of my exposition, that the beauty of this democracy would have been as we have gotten, almost a seemingly majority that will go toe-to-toe in.
Ugochukwu Ifeanyichukwu also stressed on the need for electronic voting system. This is coming after the minority caucus in the House of Representatives on Wednesday staged a walkout when a bill to amend the total advances by the Central Bank of Nigeria to the federal government from 5% to a maximum of 10% was being investigated. Independent People of Biafra has called on Ndibus across country not to join the ongoing nationwide End Bad Governance protest. The pro-Biafra group said rather than joining the protest, Ndibus should be security alert and protect their lives and properties during and after the protest. The group argued that both IPOP, Ohanese Ndibu and many other Igbo grounds have already warned them not to join the protest. protest, alleging that the security plot at its disposal indicated that security agencies had concluded plans to carry out targeted attacks against Ndibo during the protest. A statement on Thursday, the group through its spokesman, Emma Powerful, claimed that there were also plans to sponsor criminal elements in the southeast to carry out violent protests to provide opportunities for the security agencies to launch attacks against Ndibo during this period. The group said although Ndibo are facing the same economic hardship that others are facing, they are usually the victims of any protest in Nigeria. Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors said members in all its branches domiciled mainly in federal and state-owned teaching hospitals, specialist hospitals and public health institutions have been alerted to the #EndBadGovernance protest starting nationwide from today. The president of NARD, Dr. Dele Abdullahi, who disclosed this, said though the association was not joining the protest, its members were ready to offer medical treatment for protesters who may be injured. A number of civil society organizations, including the Take It Back movement, have vowed to embark on a 10-day nationwide strike to compel the government to take action to alleviate the worsening economic situation in the country. Amnesty International has called on the federal government to uphold human rights and respect the rights to peaceful protests as Nigerians commence nationwide protests over food shortages and cost of living crisis on Thursday. The country director, Amnesty International, Issa Sanusi, who disclosed this in a statement on Thursday, warned that the authorities must not use the protests as a pretext to crack down on human rights, including the right to freedom of expression and peaceful assembly. Sanusi also expressed concern over the arrests of at least 3 people last week for allegedly supporting the protests on social media and showed the authorities intolerance of peaceful dissent and urged the authorities to address the underlying issues driving the protesters instead of stifling peaceful dissent. He stressed that the right to peaceful protests must be respected, while the nationwide protests are planned for August 1st to 10th, 2024, with many people using social media platforms to organize and mobilize more participants, and some people have labeled the protest as attempts to unleash violence. Nigerian Bar Association has set up free legal support services for anyone whose fundamental human rights may be violated as a result of the ongoing hunger protest. The association's president, Yakubu Maikayu, in a statement Thursday through the NBA National Publicity Secretary, Akorede Lawal, said directives have been sent out to all chairpersons of the 130 branches of the association to take up any case of breach of fundamental human rights of persons involved in the protest. He, however, advised participants to go about the protest peacefully and urged law enforcement agents to be professional and respect the human rights of others in the discharge of their duty, adding that a situation monitoring committee has been set up to monitor activities between law enforcement agents and protesters. The hunger protest is scheduled to be held in all 36 states of the country, and the FCT is to start today, August 1st, and will last till August 10th. The protest is geared towards bringing the government's attention to the economic hardship currently being faced by its citizens. Executive Secretary of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, Sonny Echono, has called on academics in the country to focus on researches that would solve local problems. He urged the government to invest more in research, saying it is the way to the future of the country. Echono, who disclosed this while delivering the keynote address at the 2024 Research and Innovation Fair of the Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife, Osun State, spoke on the theme, the rise of research in driving sustainable development, and represented by a former OAU Vice Chancellor, Professor Michael Faborode, said The academics need to work more on products and policies that can impact our lives. A channel called on the government to prioritize investment in research and harness the potential of the youth. Nigerian Education Loan Fund says it had disbursed a total of 1.17 billion naira to 20,000 students in 5 of the public tertiary institutes that applied for the loan. The managing director of NEL Fund, Akintunde Sawyer, who disclosed this in a news conference in Abuja, said NEL Fund will keep increasing the number of beneficiaries, bills and application, adding that the fund is working on reviewing another 100,000 institutions whose applications have been received. Sawyer said an additional disbursement of 850 million naira would leave no fund to various institutions due to receiving the loans. Ministry of Finance has failed to release a sum of 4.9 billion naira meal subsidy for 112 federal unity colleges across the country. Minister of Education Tahir Maman, who disclosed this to his finance counterpart Wale Edu, said the Finance Ministry failed to release the interventions for November and December 2023, but went ahead to pay the interventions for January 2024 to date. The immediate past permanent secretary of the FME, Didi Wilson Jack, who is now the head of civil service of the Federation, designates in February 2024, wrote a finance counterpart asking that the intervention for the 2 months be released, adding that the failure to release the subsidy was affecting the smooth running of the colleges. Maman said the failure of the ministry to release the fund have led to accrued debts in the 112 unity schools. The director of press of the Ministry of Finance, Mohammed Manga, could not respond to multiple texts and calls to clarify the matter. Pan-Yoruba socio-political organization Afenifere has commended the federal government for rolling out 50 kg bags of rice to be sold for 40,000 naira lower from the current 70,000 naira market price. The federal government declared the cheaper rice on Monday as part of measures to forestall the planned hunger protest scheduled to start today, Thursday. A statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Ajare Ajayi, Afenifere reinstated his call for the organizers of the protest to call it off in the interest of peace, saying the government has started addressing their concerns. The organization, however, urged the president to urgently ease the trauma of farmers in the country through, among others, an adroit and transparent utilization of 2 trillion naira package recently approved for the Acceleration, Stabilization and Advancement Plan, of which agriculture is a key component, as put forward by the Presidential Economic Coordination Council. Business news. Prices of foodstuff have again gone up in major markets across the country as Nigerians engage in panic buying in a bid to stock their homes before the planned nationwide #End Bad Governance protest begin today. This comes as last-ditch moves by the federal government to stop the protest failed to arrest the momentum generated by the organizers, who insisted the protest would go on as planned. While the protest organizers want an improvement in the soaring cost of living and a reversal of some harsh government policies, particularly the removal of petrol subsidy, adding that the subsidy removal, along with ongoing security issues in farming regions, has led to increased transportation costs and subsequent food inflation. In a late rally to stop the demonstration, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, addressed an emergency press conference where he again admonished Nigerians to shun the proposed protest. Other top officials also pleaded for the suspension of the protest, including the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, Atiku Bagudu, Budget and Planning, Wale Edu, Economy, and Presidential Media Aide Bayo Onanuga, among others, and reeled out all the people-oriented policies and programs implemented by the Tinubu government and sought the understanding of Nigerians. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, also addressed youth at a Hisley Convent Town Hall meeting at the National Assembly complex, where he reiterated his appeal to the protest organizers to embrace dialogue with the federal government to find solutions to the hardship in the country. House of Representatives Special Joint Committee investigating factors working against the petroleum sector has directed the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to halt what it called the montage of Nigerians' future crude oil until it concludes its assignment. This is coming after the committee chaired by the lawmaker representing Idato South, Idato North, Federal Constituency, Imo State, Ikenga Ugochinyere, commenced its probe of shady deals in the sector, while the committee's directive followed reports that NNPC is planning to borrow an additional $2 billion in crude oil-backed loans from international investors to boost its financial inflow. The Group Chief Executive Officer of NNPC, Melekiari, said the National Oil Company was in discussions with international creditors to raise an oil-backed credit facility, adding that sequel to recent findings that the National Oil Company was struggling to pay international oil traders a backlog of $6 billion amid subsidy removal. A statement issued by Ugochinyere said the lawmaker urged NNPC not to undermine the forensic investigation by the House of Representatives with another fresh loan, warning that the move, if allowed, will further worsen the situation of things, starve the refineries of feedstock, as well as weaken revenue generation and create room for waste of future revenue. He also said the committee is, in its ongoing investigation, is probing allegations of non-remittance to the Federation account and non-availability of crude to domestic refineries, while the panel warned the oil company not to work against the recent directive of the federal government on the need to protect local refineries. Electricity consumers have urged the House of Representatives Joint Committee on Power, Commerce, Delegated Legislation and National Planning to audit the tariffs paid to power distribution companies across Nigeria. The group, under the aegis of the Electricity Consumer Protection Advocacy Center, made this request in a letter of commendation sent to the House of Representatives for ordering the reversal of the Band A tariff. A statement signed by the Executive Director, Prince Will Okorie, and other affiliate organizations like the Association for Public Policy Analysis and the Electricity Safety Vanguard commended the resolution of the reversal of electricity tariff for what was termed unconstitutionally created Band A customers of the discos. The group assured the House of Representatives Committee on Power of its support as non-state actors in the area of data collation and enumeration to help in identifying the number of electricity consumers in the country, the number of metered and unmetered consumers, and the investment of the discos in the sector, and also plan to identify the investments of federal, state and local governments and those of consumers groups in electricity infrastructure such as transformers, cables, wires and meters. The House of Representatives last week asked the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission and the discos to reverse the tariff hike for Band A customers immediately, while the chairman of the committee, Victor Wokolo, who presented the report, said Nigerians could not afford the new tariff. Federal government says it will spend $7.2 billion to complete 2 approved deep sea ports across the country. The projects are Ibom Badagry and Deep Sea Ports, while in December 2020, the Akwa Ibom state government said the federal government had approved $2.016 billion for the first phase of Ibom Deep Sea Port, which is estimated to cost $4.6 billion. Akwa Ibom State Commissioner for Economic Development and IDSP, Akan Okon, who disclosed in Uyo, said the Federal Executive Council approved the implementation of the first phase of IDSP on December 16, 2020, adding that the port would address issues of unemployment in Akwa Ibom State and also enable the state to implement schemes for job creation and poverty alleviation. Meanwhile, stakeholders said the broader implication of those unfinished projects are substantial, expressing frustration over the lack of progress, while President of the National Association of Master Mariners, Captain Tajuddin Alao, said the country did not need many deep-sea ports, but small, smart ports, while the country needed a few deep-sea ports and use of feeder vessels to other ports. Manufacturers and stakeholders across Africa advocating for integration of blockchain technology to transform trade under the African Continental Free Trade Area. Blockchain technology is a key enabler for enhancing transparency, security and efficiency in trade transactions across the continent. The president of the Pan-African Manufacturers Association, Mansour Ahmed, said the push aligns with AFCFTA's goals of increasing intra-African trade by reducing barriers and fostering economic integration. Speaking during the Palmer Capacity Building webinar, Ahmed expressed concern about the low intra-African trade, adding that AFCFTA offers opportunities for job creation, market access, and financial inclusion, but requires a multi-stakeholder approach. Stakeholders during the Palmer webinar discussed the need for a comprehensive African manufacturing directory while engaging with African banks and a platform to showcase and exchange goods across the continent, and also highlighted the importance of payments technologies as a backbone for connecting trade transactions while addressing challenges faced by small and medium manufacturers, including access to afford finance and infrastructure. You're still watching the Global News, now international tidbits. Thousands have turned out for the funeral procession in Iran of the Hamas political chief, Ismail Haniyeh, who was killed in a strike in Tehran on Wednesday. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, led prayers for the Hamas leader, whose body will be buried in Qatar. And Iranian officials said the supreme leader has ordered a direct attack against Israel, which it says was responsible for the attack of Iranian soil, while Israel has not commented on the assassination directly. However, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said his country had delivered crushing blows to its enemies in recent days, including the killing of a senior Hezbollah commander in Lebanon hours before the Tehran strike, had warned Israelis that challenging days lie ahead as the wider conflict in the Middle East grow. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned against a dangerous escalation of hostilities in the region, while Hamas armed wing said the death of Haniyeh was widely viewed as the group's overall leader would take the battle to a new dimension and have major repercussions. Israel said Dave was one of the figures responsible for planning the 7 October attacks in southern Israel, in which 1,200 people were killed. Kamala Harris will be confirmed as a Democratic U.S. presidential nominee in an election vote starting today to replace the fanfare of in-person balloting that usually kicks off the party's nationwide convention. Less than 2 weeks after Joe Biden ended his re-election bid, his 52-year-old vice president in full control of the party, having emerged as the only Democrat in the running to challenge Republican Donald Trump in November. Just under 4,000 delegates, the grassroots activists and politicians allocated during the primary process sent in signatures backing Harris to be on the ballot for the 5-day electronic vote, and no other Democrats have stepped forward to challenge her elevation to the top of the ticket, making her confirmation as the first black and South Asian woman ever to secure a major party's nomination, and nomination a formality. She won the support of 99% of the delegates who signed petitions, the Democratic National Committee said in a statement, while no one else met the qualifying threshold of 300 signatures. The 2024 nomination system is largely as it was in 2020 when the COVID-19 pandemic prevented a large in-person convention, but is still unusual. Barcelona have reached an agreement with Spain midfielder Dani Olmo over a transfer to Catalan club this summer. According to Fabrizio Romano, the deal Barcelona offered to Olmo is a 6-year contract that will expire in June 2030. The La Liga giants will pay RB Leipzig a 55 million euros guaranteed fee plus 4 million euros added for Olmo's signature. Manchester United are considering a shock move for Chelsea Ben Chilwell. Man United manager Erik ten Hag is understood to be looking at left-back alternatives after long-term injuries to Luke Shaw and Terrell Malaysia, and Chilwell's future at the Chelsea is currently in doubt. The former Leicester City star was among the players Chelsea have given their new manager Enzo Maresca the green light to offload this summer. Chelsea is keen to bolster Maresca's side this summer after they finished outside of the Premier League top 4 last season. Entertainment. Nollywood actress Tonto Dike has declared her support for President Bola Tinubu as a nationwide protest itself. Tonto took to her Instagram page to praise Tinubu's effort with an infograph. She wrote, "Statistics don't lie. Everyone is working to get this country to where we want it to be." According to the statistics that Tonto posted, there have been big improvements in the foreign reserves, minimum wage, forex backlog, oil production, and debt-to-revenue ratio. And that's the global news for tonight. Before we go, another look at the major stories. Nigerians protest bad governance. Governor Yusuf declares 24-hour curfew. MBA offers free legal services. Manufacturers want adoption of blockchain. Thousands attend Hamas leader's funeral. Man United to sign Chelsea star. Tonto declares support for Tinubu. I am Wendy Aguma. Thank you for watching and good evening.